A friend's a friend who knows what's being. I dreamt of a move, a great move, to another place with much more land. I was driven by call and woke before I got there. I remember the place and it was beautiful.
Hey.
Is that we're saying we're gonna open big tonight?
That's my big.
Open big.
That's my big. Hey,
Hey, there he is. Look everybody.
Hey. Hey, yo.
Hey, welcome to the morning zoo. No, we're not doing that
no,
again.
not again.
No, not again. We're not going back there.
We're doing the zoo. I'm walking.
Christopher. Welcome to
Delusions of Granular.
My name is JP.
My name is Ron.
Together we damn.
Oh, damn it. Together we are Ron and JP.
Give him the social, Ron.
Oh, okay. Hey, you can always find us on Facebook.com/SWDog or follow us on Twitter at SWDog77. And if you don't know who we are, you can always just kind of check out our website.
Yeah.
Go to our website.
Literally every episode's back there with some gorgeous cover art.
That's right.
Made by Ron.
That's
our very
right.
own Ron.
Right. Inspired by JP. JP was like, you know what? If we're going to do a podcast, we should do cover art for every episode.
And then I said, and you should do it.
You should do it, because I don't have time.
And we should heavily edit every episode. Ron.
You should do that, too. Well, you should go to Delusions.
I'm an idea man, Ron.
You are. I'm the, apparently the worker bee. But you should go to delusionsofgranular.com. That is GRANULAR, granular, not grandeur.
Yeah.
Check out all of our episodes on there. You can find them all. You can download them. You can stream them. You can share them. You can do whatever you want with them. And there's no commitments. You don't have to subscribe to us on iTunes or Facebook,
But
unless you want to.
It doesn't cost nothing.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
But if you're like, no, I'm not using iTunes, man. Fuck the man.
Yeah.
Right?
Like we did when we titled episode Kroll Fuckers.
That's right.
Take that.
We're never going to live that one down.
Wow.
In our minds.
No, I know. I feel like a real rebel for that.
I know, me too,
Yeah,
but it didn't really give us anything.
Well, we don't know that.
Well,
I would like
nobody I wanted people to
Wait, are you
just
saying
be angry.
You don't think
angry at us?
Oh, I thought we were gonna get a big spike. People were like, "Finally, a podcast is not afraid to say the truth."
No.
Well, regardless, if you think it was the truth or it was just blatant a cry for help, a cry for ratings, why don't you give us a call at 651-33-SW-DOG. That is our sexy hotline at 651-337-9364. Become part of the show. It's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it when people call in. It really
absolutely.
Makes my day.
That's right.
So.
Or, as always, you can email us at swdog77@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And if we like your email, we'll read it on the air or, use your thoughts for maybe possibly a future episode. I know that we've gotten an email recently talking about Star Wars and how it ties to actual history.
Yeah, the actual historical reference that inspires Star Wars, which I thought was an excellent email from a friend named Vaughn.
Yep.
Not a IRL friend,
no.
SW Dog friend.
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn is producing our new podcast. But no, really, the mailbag's bursting. It's really great, and I enjoy reading it, and I look forward to more.
We always look forward to, folks, if you have any ideas, we'll take them into consideration, and, if not do a full episode about them, try to figure out a way to work them into the show.
Yeah, maybe at the top of the show, this rambling top of the show part we like to do.
That's right.
One last bit of business here. Subscribe.
If you actually do want to subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher. And as always, we still have 40-some episodes into this. We still have not figured out Stitcher.
I dare. You know what?
Can you leave a review on Stitcher?
Who cares? My favorite listener will be the listener who subscribes or does anything with Stitcher and our podcast, and then calls in and tells us about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So consider that a competition, ongoing.
Yeah. Be our number one Stitcher fan.
Yeah. Hey. Stitcher listener. We don't have fans, Ron. We
That's
have
right.
listeners.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always respect.
I'm not even a fan.
Yeah. I did, but I unliked it.
I unsubscribed.
Is it just me or is Facebook kind of dead? We've been getting some play on our Facebook page.
I think Facebook.
I don't see anyone post things anymore. Like people.
Oh, people?
Yeah. I mean, I hid so many people, though, I guess.
Well, yeah, there's the thing.
After you find out you can hide people.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Facebook is really become the SW dog page. I don't look at my regular page.
Same.
I don't care.
It's like just
personal life. I don't care about that.
Oh, how sad. I liked your little yearly tradition where throughout the year you would hide everyone.
Yes.
As they annoyed you.
Yes.
And then at the first of every year, you would unhide them all.
To see how long they would last.
Yeah. I thought that was a really smart little kind of battle royale way to see personal relationships.
Usually by January 6th, they're all hidden again.
Doesn't take long.
It does not.
So Ron, here we are on the podcast. I don't know if we mentioned this earlier. We talk about Star Wars. We don't
That's
hate
right.
Star Wars.
We do not.
We're two lapsed fans discovering our love of Star Wars.
That's right.
We are clearing the hate.
Clearing the hate. Erasing the hate.
Erasing the hate. That is our 3 taglines.
Yeah. Quest for more taglines. That's what our show's all about.
That's right. The podcast's so nice, it had to have taglines thrice. Well, man, it's been a quiet week. Well, maybe.
Maybe.
This podcast takes place in the alternate future timeline.
Oh, we're back to the...
much like...
when is this happening?
Yeah, old-timey fans of the podcast will remember the time warp we went through around New Year's.
Yeah.
We're in a different kind of time warp. We're actually contacting you from a parallel world of where you are now.
That's right.
It's a different future.
Yeah,
it's going to happen this way.
Yeah, so it try to not get us confused in this time warp. We're not going to talk about anything timely. We're going to talk about...
thoughts.
Yeah, crazy-ass thoughts about Star Wars.
That's not the topic of the episode, though.
No. This is just our beginning crazy...
Top of the episode, we actually are going to be exploring the new canon.
Yes.
The new book, Lords of the Sith. By Paul S. Kemp. I don't know if there's an S in there. Paul Kemp. Yeah.
Sure.
Sean Kemp. The Seattle Supersonics basketball player from the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah, that was some grade school knowledge.
You just went granular on basketball.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like reverse geeking out.
Yeah.
To use sports things on a Star Wars podcast.
I feel like basketball is kind of an approved nerd sport.
In a weird way, right?
Right.
I think baseball is kind of edging its way there, too, though. I know a lot of baseball nerds.
Mathematician nerds. I can't... Baseball confuses the hell out of me.
That's right. Yeah,
Too many numbers.
Well, that's the thing.
Right.
It's all... I think a lot of sports nerds are kind of taking over with fantasy leagues.
Oh, right.
Right.
Because
they're all about stats.
See, I think basketball is a worthy nerd sport because when two or more basketball players fight, they fight like nerds. There's arms flailing around, and basketball players just can't fight. Not like a hockey player or a football player. Basketball players is just awkward.
No,
like nerds. Like
nerd
fights.
Their wives and girlfriends. So.
Or girlfriends and wives.
Yeah. Put it in perspective.
Yeah.
So, have you had any Star Wars thoughts lately, Ron? I've had a couple.
Well, let's hear your thoughts, because I am a blank slate as far as any kind of Star Wars thoughts lately.
Well, let me fill your empty vassal.
Okay.
I was thinking about Chewbacca recently.
That surprises and shocks me.
This is the beginning of a joke. But no, seriously,
You are not a fan.
It's not that I'm not a fan. I enjoy Chewbacca as much as the next
You
guy.
are a Wookiee hater.
Well,
Wookiee racist.
No. We'll get into my racism later in the podcast.
Foreshadowing, folks.
Yeah. Stick around. This is how desperate we've gotten.
That's right.
We put the F word into the title recently. Now we're teasing racism. It's TWI'LEKS. That's what we will racist.
Oh.
But we'll get there.
You gave it away.
Yeah. Anyhow. So... Think about Chewbacca the other day, because I'm trying to think up new... When we're not here, we're thinking about the podcast. That's
right.
it. It's the podcast and doing the podcast.
Right.
That's it.
Work? No. Right.
No.
Relationships? No.
Empty.
Yeah.
So...
It's a shallow life we lead.
Yeah, it really is. Professional fans.
Hey, JP, did you see that new movie out? No.
No.
Is it Star Wars? No.
No.
Didn't see it. Sorry.
I haven't actually seen a movie since 2007.
That's right.
So anyhow, so I'm trying to come up with new ideas. We're always trying to think outside the box. Last week we did serials.
That's right.
We've talked about the MCU. We've talked about a bunch of Krull recently. We've been all over the map. So I'm trying to get back to basics. I'm thinking about Chewbacca.
Okay.
And how much you love Chewbacca.
Love him.
You swore off the EU when they killed him in Vector Prime, which we did an episode on.
Yes.
The Vector Prime episode.
Right. Turn me around.
Yes. Was it? Oh, I thought that was the name of the episode.
No.
The episode Turn Me Around, episode 43. That's the old TWI'LEKS episode. But so, in this Chewbacca episode,
Yes.
in this Vector Prime episode, you kind of talked about how you had such a reaction to his death because he was literally your favorite Star Wars character.
One of, sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, favorite non-humanoid.
Yes.
At the very least. More than Boba Fett, you like Chewbacca.
Yeah, I would say my top two is Chewbacca and R2-D2.
Yes. And that's a classic Gen 1 fan thing. Gen
Yes.
1 fan thing, like, love Chewbacca. I don't think kids today appreciate Chewbacca as much as they used to.
Okay.
All right? I kind of think that Chewbacca is the equivalent. We're always comparing Star Wars to Marvel in a weird way here.
Sure.
That's kind of become a hallmark of the show inadvertently.
Sure.
He's kind of like the Thing from Fantastic Four. Not in terms of characterization,
Okay.
but in terms that, A, he's the muscle.
Sure.
B, he's the character that kids in the 70s and early 80s loved. He's the number one character of his universe.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Until he's supplanted by another character. In the Marvel Universe, Wolverine takes top billing in the 80s and 90s.
Okay. Sure.
In the
I see where you're
Star
going with
Wars
this.
universe in the 80s and 90s, Boba Fett takes top billing.
Okay. So you're saying that like Boba Fett equals
To which I
Wolverine.
refer people to our Book of Fett episode.
That's right.
Yes.
Right. So Boba Fett equals Wolverine. Which I can see. Totally see
Mysterious
that.
past,
Yep,
badass, lethal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Gray.
Chewbacca is equal to the Thing.
Yes. Lovable. And the characterization thing falls apart here, but it's really just about popularity.
Sure.
Like, it's hard for people of my generation to understand how popular the Thing was. But he was really the number one, like, mascot character.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Well,
totally.
Spider-Man.
No, sure, I get it. Like, I'm a little bit, because I'm late to the Marvel universe in comics, I'm a little bit like, I don't know where to put the Thing in my mind of, like, my hierarchy of characters. Like, you know, like, the Thing, I don't know, like...
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't do a lot for me, but is a cool character design. But
that's not. You gotta think. It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about how the children of the time felt.
Sure.
You know, and it's about like
Sure,
the popularity of the character in a certain era. And so, like, I was thinking, like, there's got to be something there too. I mean, like, Chewbacca spawned a lot of imitators. I'm thinking, keeping it with Jack Kirby, Fantastic Four, Thundar the Barbarian, the cartoon show. Famously had Ookla the Mock.
wait, is this Chewbacca's inspiring these characters?
Yes,
or the Thing?
Chewbacca.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know who you're talking about then.
Oh.
Who are these people?
Ookla the Mock, and he was in the children's TV show Thundar the Barbarian in the 80s. Trying to think of other Chewbacca.
I have a blank face on.
Last Starfighter, Grig.
Okay.
Grig?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, and I don't know where I'm pulling this.
I don't know either.
But he's kind of like Chewbacca Han Solo mashup almost.
Okay.
He's the guy who trains the Last Starfighter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
reptilian.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, but I'm just going to rap and freestyle here. I think
No, that's fine. I like the comparison. I like it. I understand where you're coming from.
This kind of comes because I off mic, I brought this up to Ron as maybe we could have a Chewbacca episode somewhere, but I don't quite have a handle on it just yet.
Right.
What
Like,
do you-
I want to have, like, a Millennium Falcon episode.
Yeah.
But I don't have a handle on that either.
Yeah.
Like, how do we talk about a iconic vehicle, but still, like, an
That
object?
we've only seen,
It's
like,
an
maybe
object.
a third of?
Right.
Or half of?
Right.
Like,
I don't know.
When I actually think about the Millennium Falcon, it's like, well, I know where that goes, and then it's like, I don't know where that tube is.
Yeah, right.
I don't know where that is either. That's actually one of the things I look forward to the most in The Force Awakens is seeing more Falcon.
Yeah, I'm because of The Force Awakens and the glimpses we've seen of the Falcon. Mm-hmm. I'm like I was watching A New Hope recently. I don't know, like as I tend to do.
As you do.
Right, that's what I do. And I was like, instead of paying attention to like the actual characters and the dialogue that's going on, especially in the scene where Luke is, fighting the ball with the lightsaber
the training ball.
Yeah, the probe draw. Well, I forgot what that's called.
The probe orb.
Yeah.
Here, Padawan, check out my probe orb.
Probe orb.
Ugh. You're vile, old man.
Oh, we're gonna get letters.
Well, here we go.
Probe orb.
This is our
call you guys are a Star Wars podcast. Probe orb.
Yeah, you guys are gross. This is a
remote. What is that thing called?
This is like a. This is like our Raw era. This is SW Dog
Raw. So anyway, regardless, I'm not paying attention to any of the main characters and what's being said on screen at all. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm paying attention to the nooks and crannies of the Millennium Falcon and what Han has like shoved into like nooks and crannies between pipes, right?
Yeah.
And I swear he has like bags of like cotton, like pillow bedding.
Huh.
I'm like, what is like? Is Han like a big crafts guy? Like he's doing like crafts and hobbies?
Or do you think it's like a rattle or something? It's like I just gotta get rid of this rattle.
It's just
come on, Chewie,
cramming like bags of cotton.
Imagine that, like, because there's gotta be so many times where like him and Chewie are just sitting in that little area with the chest room.
They're like, what's that noise?
And they're just like laying there, and it's like you just hear like, zzz,
what's that noise?
Do you hear it, Chewie? That was the worst Chewie bro. Can you do it, Chewie?
No. Not even gonna try.
All right, Ronald. Should we just transition into the silly business?
We should. Yeah, that was a silly beginning, but sometimes we have to get it out of our system.
Yeah. Sorry, folks.
That's what you pay for.
That's yeah.
All right, folks.
Okay, let's get
you mentioned it. We're talking Lords of the Sith.
As far as new canon goes, this was far and away the most exciting one.
Yeah, we were both looking forward to this one a lot.
The cover of it makes it look like it's going to be. What is that movie with the black prisoner and the white prisoner, and they're chained together?
Yeah,
they're like running.
I'm forgetting the title. You showed me the cover, and I was like, yeah, that's what we were promised, and that's not what we got from this book.
Basically thought it was going to be a goofy buddy comedy.
Well, that's what we both thought. Is like, so this
not goofy buddy comedy, but like
this was billed as. Well, we thought it was going to be a buddy comedy.
I just kind of thought it was.
We hoped.
But like a third of it actually is kind of.
Well, so this was the fourth.
Fourth.
We
got the
fourth
Rebels
new canon
lead up.
book. Yeah, New Dawn.
Rebels lead up. Heir of the Jedi.
Tarkin. And now Lords of the Sith.
Oh yeah, number 4.
Right? And we briefly talked about the Rebels book, A New Dawn, in one of our Rebels episode.
Yep. We both read that one.
We kind of skimmed over Heir of the Jedi and Tarkin.
We'll get to those.
Yeah. But we really wanted to talk about this one because we were both looking forward to this. We thought it was going to be billed as kind of a Darth Vader / Emperor buddy adventure.
I thought it was really going to be them in the center of it for the whole thing.
Right.
And they're kind of in the center about a third or a half.
But it was I think we were both fascinated by the dynamic of what this book promised, or what we thought it was going to promise. Was like, this is going to be like just Darth Vader and the Emperor kind of hanging out, shipwrecked on a planet somewhere, being evil and having to deal with their personalities.
Yeah. Well, it's this weird thing, like Palpatine met Anakin when he was a child. We last see him, after this big tragedy, he turns into Darth Vader. Next time we see them together is Jedi.
Yeah.
And it's
like
a
big gap of time there.
Big gap. And a lot of comedy things have it, like, I'm thinking Robot Chicken and Family Guy and the Lego movies. They've all kind of exploited the comedy that's inherent in the fact that, like, for 30 years, this old witch man and Darth Vader were hanging out.
Right.
Because it's like, what do they have to talk about?
Right. Yeah.
Nothing.
Not
a damn thing.
Right.
Like,
so I was just like, oh man, this book is going to be great.
yeah, finally a canonical book that's going to tell us like what that relationship was.
Yeah. Like, are bunk beds involved?
Yeah, like, well, it's just literally, it's like, after, like, you know, perfect. Earlier we were just talking about Han and Chewie hanging out in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
You can picture that scene.
Totally.
Even if it's boring, you can picture them being like, you know, someone's throwing a tennis ball or some space tennis ball, you know, like, anyone's getting annoyed, whatever.
Right.
But, like, picture that same scene with the Emperor and Darth Vader, and it's just like, this is goofy.
It's
a man in an iron mask.
There's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's what's fascinating about this book.
Yes.
And the potential for this book. And I'm not saying it doesn't live up to the potential. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed this book greatly, right? Which is why we wanted to talk about it. But, like, the potential, like, the idea of this book, Darth Vader and the Emperor just hanging out.
Yeah.
Stranded somewhere, they have to deal with each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's canonical. Like, this is canon, so we know that
it counts.
It counts, and it's going to be serious.
Yeah, when you see Return of the Jedi, know that these two characters did what's in this book.
Right. But it's going to be it's going to be a serious approach to this.
Yeah.
And, like, all the things, like, as you said, Robot Chicken, Family Guy, whatever, all the things leading up to this who have kind of touched on this relationship, like, makes this even a bigger challenge to take seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Just two goofy dudes that really don't have social skills hanging out together.
And and plus, there's this thing of, like, this would be a different book. I know we love the prequels here, and we love the Clone Wars.
That's right.
But this would be a different book if we'd never had prequels and Clone Wars. Because now that we know so much about Anakin and his history, we were making jokes episode by episode, like, 15 or something, about, like, what's he going to be doing in this book? Like, you know, like, is there going to be a moment where it's like,
yeah.
Snoops. You know, like...
Right. Padme.
Yeah. And funny enough, there is a moment.
There is that moment.
That does happen.
But I hate to use this term.
Yeah.
But I feel like for you, it was a little bit of this, a little bit of bait and switch.
A little bit.
Right? Because we crack open the book and we're all ready to dive into a slapstick comedy of Vader and Palpatine.
Oh, yeah.
You know, hanging out.
Oh, yeah. I had my Monomarth shirt on. I was ready to get evil.
Hijinks, right. They're slapping each other on the butt.
Yeah.
And what do we get? Like 10 pages into it, we get TWI'LEKS. Your favorite race of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, not quite.
Not even on the cover. They don't even show them on the cover.
No, they don't, do they?
Right? TWI'LEKS.
Like, that could be a TWI'LEK on the left of the cover.
Or it's...
I guess it's the right of the cover.
It's a... Yeah, maybe.
That might be an armored up TWI'LEK.
Armored up TWI'LEK. So, the folks, if you're new...
Do you know what a TWI'LEK is?
TWI'LEKS.
Yeah. Let's cover what a TWI'LEK is.
Well, let's not talk down to our audience. I'm sure they know what a TWI'LEKS are if they're listening this long into our show.
It's everyone's first podcast.
But... Where were we first introduced to the TWI'LEKS? Because this is really a sticking point for you.
Yeah, I did keep bringing this up. The first TWI'LEK you see is in Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Yes. As the dancer.
Well, we see Bib Fortuna first.
Oh, that's...
Right.
I always forget because it's so different.
Because his
Laiku is down.
Yeah, the Laiku are basically... So the TWI'LEKS quickly have two...
Ron, his Laiku.
His two appendages coming out of the top of their head.
They're called
Laiku. Yeah. They're referred to officially as Laiku.
A lot. And also they
twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah, it's gross, man. Okay, so the TWI'LEKS is the stripper in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, it's Bib Fortuna, whose Laiku are basically wrapped around his head in some weird way, so he doesn't really appear like like what is...
Is he like an albino TWI'LEK?
Yeah, he's like an albino vampire...
Evil TWI'LEK.
TWI'LEK, yeah. Like, he's got, like... He's got some problems, right? Yeah. And then we're introduced to Ula.
Yeah.
Ula is the dancer.
Ula is
half-naked dancer, green alien.
Now,
skin.
is she the one in the original videotape release? You could see her nipples.
Yeah, they've edited that out. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So this sticks with you because so basically our first introduction to this race.
Are we going to jump right into that? Okay.
Well, I think that. I think we have to talk about
okay, let's just jump right into it.
So let me set it up. Please. And then you can state your
offensive
feelings.
Yeah,
your feelings. So we're introduced to these two characters in Jedi, and for whatever reason, this race has been expanded upon in the Clone Wars. Okay, and even beyond that into Rebels. Okay, yes. So the Twi'lek race is expanded upon,
and the prequels.
Yeah,
we have a Jedi Twi'lek.
That's right. So our first introduction to it was a stripper and a major domo type of crazy ass freak.
Yeah.
Right.
Major domo.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that's what he was. Right. He was a major domo.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even familiar with that reference.
I think that's what he's referred to as.
What's that mean?
I think it's like a servant, like butler.
Cool.
Yeah.
Major domo.
Major domo.
Major domo.
Yeah. I could be using that reference wrong, but I believe on like one of my Star Wars cards from way back when,
that's one of those
referenced him as a major domo.
Major domo.
We could probably look that up, but
no, I think it's good. I'm going with it.
Anyway. We were first introduced to them. Then they were in the prequels as kind of a slutty looking Jedi. You know, like
I wouldn't say that, Ron, but I would say that Twi'lek Jedi did have an exposed midriff. And,
yeah.
I feel like in the Clone Wars they showed her again, and she was actually wearing even more straps.
Yeah, she was even more scantily clad,
which isn't a problem.
Right? No, not judging, but the issue comes in.
There's an issue here.
Yeah, the issue is like you feel that there was some making up to do. That we were introduced to these characters, and they were very. It was a demeaning characterization of it, and the Star Wars universe has since then overly made up for these this race by making them more honorable, more. Of a less sexed up, sexualized race. Mm-hmm. You know, like almost like it's apologetically making up for the sins of the past by introducing him as a scantily clad stripper dancer, and
that's essentially my whole argument. Is that when you first
tying this back to the novel. They are central characters in the novel. They are basically the protagonists to Vader and Palpatine's antagonists.
Let's take a break from my argument here.
Yeah.
Let's go back into the novel.
Yeah.
So what we're faced with here is we're going to follow the Free Ryloth movement, which is...
The Ryloth are where the Twi'leks are from.
Yeah. And that's led by Cham, who we've met in several episodes of the
Clone Wars,
which I don't actually remember a lot of the episodes with Cham very well.
Well, I think you probably blocked out
like,
the
Twi'leks
again.
Whatever.
Yeah. And Cham, as it turns out, is the father of Hera in Rebels.
Referenced twice in the novel.
Yeah.
It's clear. So there they are. They're tightening it all up. The canon's working. The story group's working.
That's right. So Cham and his group of
freedom fighters
are essentially rebelling against the Empire.
And what this really is by the way, spoiler warnings all the way through, folks.
Yes.
What this really is the micro beginnings of what will become the rebellion in New Hope.
Exactly, yeah.
That is what the story actually is. Because the rebellion that Luke Skywalker joins, the rebellion that destroys the Death Star, the rebellion that ultimately, theoretically, wins by the end of Jedi.
That's right.
Started on Ryloth. It started with TWI'LEKS.
Yeah, because
with the strippers race from Return of the Jedi.
That's right. That's right.
Because she was actually an outlier.
Yes.
They aren't all strippers. They are often put into slavery.
Yes.
The slavers in the Clone Wars were enslaving TWI'LEKS.
Yes.
Right?
They're also
Those guys with the laser whips.
somewhat sexualized by the Empire.
Yep, they might. It's kind of alluded to. They might be sex slaves.
Yes.
The females.
Yes.
But that's kind of an outlying case because they're actually a very honorable people.
Honorable, hardworking.
And to the point of not only are they a Jedi, granted they dress a little scantily, but hey, maybe they
Ryloth might be a hot planet.
Or maybe they don't. They only have sweat glands on their belly.
That's right.
Think about that.
Right.
They are aliens.
Right. Don't have to convince me.
No.
I'm not against them.
Ron has
I have a
always-
love of the Twi'lek.
Ron has always been a fan of the TWI'LEKS.
Twi'lek
which
are
makes
my
me
people.
Question
Ron.
Ron.
In general.
Yeah, in general, yeah. Because, okay. So this is a very popular...
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
let's just sum up the storyline. So basically, the Twi'leks are, free Ryloth. So Ryloth is mind spice. The Empire wants to exploit the planet. There's a couple of Imperials on the planet that we'll get to later, but they're kind of not... they're not up to Imperial standards. They're a little bit lax for whatever reasons. We'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
So the Emperor and Vader need to come and kind of set things straight. They come on a Star Destroyer, and this gives the Free Ryloth movement an opportunity to actually make a statement by destroying, taking down a Star Destroyer,
Yep.
and possibly even taking down the Emperor and Vader at the same time.
Well, they don't know that initially, but yes.
No, they don't know that initially, but that's essentially the gist of the story. Is like the Free Ryloth movement wants to just make a statement by destroying a Star Destroyer. They find out the Emperor and Vader are on that Star Destroyer. Even better, make a statement by cutting off the Emperor at its head.
I equate this story to like a game of cards or something, where it's like the Free Ryloth movement has an opportunity that's a risk to take down a Star Destroyer, which is going to be a huge symbolic victory.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They'll spread throughout, because what they really want to show is that the Empire does have weakness.
Yes.
And then they find out they have this opportunity to double down on that.
Yes.
And then throughout the various characters we meet, because they also have plants inside the Empire,
Right.
various characters all see the chance to double down on things to try and come out on top.
Right.
And so
Right.
it's really a game to see who is going to win at the end.
Right.
Knowing that, now the one thing is with all EU type novels, this isn't EU, this is canon, but all non-film novels,
Yep.
is that there's some characters that are kind of untouchable.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
this takes place in that 30-year gap. We're going to see the Emperor again. We're going to see Darth Vader again. So we know that they're going to at least live.
Right. Right. So,
But anyone else
is free reign. They could die at any moment. Just to kind of quickly wrap this up, like the cover of this book, we see kind of a Vader and Emperor kind of walking side by side, battling on a foreign planet. What we find out in this book is the Free Ryloth movement is successful. They take down a Star Destroyer. The Emperor and Vader escape the fallen Star Destroyer by a shuttle, crash land on Ryloth, and have to kind of fend for themselves for a while.
Yes.
Right? So we do eventually get that book that we were promised of Vader, Emperor,
bullshitting.
fending for themselves, bullshitting together on a foreign planet, fighting for their lives.
Oh, by the way, that movie I was talking about was The Defiant Ones.
Oh,
I pulled it up.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. So that is the gist of the story. As you alluded to, there's some ins and outs, some interesting Imperial characters, some interesting rebellion characters. The Twi'leks are a main race in this book.
Yep, and we'll we'll touch on those in just a second.
Yep.
Let's get...
so we ran down the basic facts.
Yep.
So now let's just kind of go into the granular details.
Well, before we even do that, Ron.
Yes.
How'd you like the book? Did you
Loved
enjoy
it?
It was by Paul S. Kemp.
I love this book. I was engaged with this book from
the word go.
Yeah, from the word go all the way to the end. I thought this was a fun romp. I thought I could find hardly any faults with this book.
All right.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this book. Paul S. Kemp, a known quantity, done a lot of Forgotten Realms stuff, a few Star Wars novels.
Nice.
I would say it was about the right tone I like for Star Wars novels in general. It wasn't... I'm a big fan of James Luciano.
James Luciano.
James Luciano, a favorite writer. But
keep going. I'm going to actually look up his name and give the proper credit.
Thank you. His books are a little more dense, a little more on the political side.
Yes, there's not a lot of...
I like my Star Wars novels one of two ways.
Okay.
Either very, very dense and political, or very loose and freewheeling.
All right.
I think this one goes a little bit more to the right. I did have a TWI'LEK issue.
A known TWI'LEK issue that you've had for quite a while.
Yeah, which we'll cover here momentarily. But the book really picks up in the middle. Yes. Once we get to the point where the Emperor... There's a very pivotal point in a battle where the Emperor and Darth Vader are isolated together.
Yep.
And from that moment on, we're pretty much
full
all
steam
golden.
ahead. Sure.
And when they start giving me a little bit of fan service, like they start talking about the Imperial Guard, which I've long been a big fan of.
Right.
Those red guys, the big costume.
Yes.
Once they give me a little bit of detail about who those guys are under the hood, then I was on board 100% from then on out.
Okay.
To all the way to the end.
I agree with you. I think that there was fan service, and I think it worked well.
There was heavy fan service.
We learned a lot. We learned a lot of ins and outs in the Star Wars universe from this book. We learned, where the clones were, who was a clone, who wasn't a clone at this time, because this is after the Clone Wars. So are the clones still around? We find out some of them are, some of them aren't. We learn a little bit more about some of the Imperials that aren't in the triumvirate of Emperor Tarkin Vader. Some of the the Imperials that are on some of the outlying worlds, maybe a Ryloth.
Yeah. Now we'll cover that.
All right. You don't want to get to those yet?
Those are kind of topics we're going to cover throughout the episode.
All right.
Let's start off, first and foremost, let's finish up our TWI'LEK debate here.
All right. Yes.
Okay. So where we left it was... Initially we met a stripper. Turns out that was a way outlier, and actually they're the most honorable race in the entire galaxy.
Hardworking.
Yep.
Just kind of put upon. Yeah.
And important. They are important to the rebellion. They started the rebellion, damn it.
Right.
It all started with them. If there is a bright, shining center of the galaxy, they are the point closest to.
Sure. You're not buying this?
Well, it does feel a little knee-jerk, right? It does feel a little bit like this became a very popular costume for people to wear.
Okay.
Perhaps not the most... not the most egalitarian SW's ever been. You know?
Right.
Where it's kind of a misogynistic bit. She does this little sexy dance. We see her nips. Then Jabba throws her in with a Rancor.
All right. Do we want to get to the heart of your problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. I guess I've lost track. What's the heart of my problem?
we discussed this earlier. I wanted to touch upon this.
Yeah.
So, Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Right? This is like the opening of the movie. We're in Jabba's palace.
Yep.
Right? We see half-naked dancers, some with multiple breasts, some with 2 breasts, some we actually see nipples. We see Leia in a very revealing outfit that has become very popular.
Slave Leia, the only action figure that sells.
Right.
Sad.
This was the this was the first time that Star Wars became sexual.
Yeah.
Right? Like Star Wars A New Hope. There's a kiss on the cheek
for good luck.
Right?
Yep.
And that's it.
Pretty much.
Right? There's no other, like, hint at romance, hint at sexuality.
Although pushing...
Like, Han is, like...
shooting those torpedoes down the trench there, I mean...
You're reading into that.
Well, maybe.
Han and Luke are, like, kind of, like, feeling each other out as far as what each other's...
That was hot.
Attraction is for Leia, but other than that, like, it's not like... It's very G-rated.
Oh,
right?
totally, yes.
Right? Empire Strikes Back.
We up the ante a bit.
We up it a little bit. We get a little bit more romance, but it's still pretty PG.
I love you.
Right?
I know.
Right. We get my hands are dirty, so are mine. What are you afraid of? Like, the kiss starts, 3PO interrupts it.
They all should have been like that. It all should have been, my hands are dirty. I know. That should have been a lot.
Your hands are dirty.
Yeah.
I'll see you in hell.
I know.
But, like, all right, hear me out on this theory.
Okay.
Right? Jedi comes out. Initially we're already thrust into this world where there's sex.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
right off
Jabba has half-naked dancers dancing for him for whatever purpose. He's got Leia chained to him for whatever purpose. Thank God that's not actually in the movie. We don't see that. We can just always, imagine it. and
in a weird way, I know it's sexual, right? But like, I always just figured he kind of was going to eat her.
Well, that's the thing.
What else can he do?
Well, okay,
right?
So when Jedi came out, like, all of this was kind of a non-issue, right? But
yeah, because women didn't have rights yet.
Well, wow, really.
But like, it's funny though, right? Because it's like, well, women were still going to see movies. It was just like, no, it would take us another 20 plus years to recognize this fact.
Well, it would take us another 20 plus years of overanalyzing these movies to get to the point
to
where
pull up the data that, like, hey, girls like these as well.
No, the fact that we're overanalyzing, like, what was Jabba's intentions? Like, there's been numerous overanalyzations on, well, what was Jabba going to do? Like, if Luke didn't show up, and, like...
Well, it is kind of a weird plot point, Ron. I mean, she chokes him with the chain she's bound with.
Yeah.
So it's like, why was she bound with a chain?
Right.
Why was she wearing the metal bikini? What was it all about?
Again, this is overanalyzation. This was not stuff that we
I'm so used to going granular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're to blame here. We were overanalyzing Star Wars, just like countless other
We
fans.
ruined Carrie Fisher.
No, that's all her.
That's cocaine.
But I wanted to bring up this theory.
Yes.
Right? We know that this was a hard time for Lucas.
Yep.
His marriage was kind of falling apart.
Yep.
Right?
Marcia had left him for the carpenter.
Right. Or was in the process of leaving him. I don't think they got
Cheating
divorced.
on him
I don't
with
think
the
they
carpenter.
I don't think they got divorced until after Jedi.
Sleeping with the carpenter.
Sleeping with the carpenter. Yeah. Right. Which was the original title for Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars, Sleeping with the Carpenter.
Episode 6. My wife's sleeping with a carpenter and I can't do anything about it.
Good segue.
Yes.
Lucas can't do anything about it, and he kind of, like, I want to say, like, God bless the man, but he's a little bit stilted in his social graces.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't really, like, say what you will. Marcia was cheating on him. He was ignoring her. Like, who's to blame? There's always two sides of the story, right? Like, I feel like Jedi and his inserting sex in that is like his kind of juvenile way of dealing with, like, Marcia cheating on him.
Yeah, or even if it's not cheating, the distance he's feeling.
Yeah.
And he's still a man.
Yeah.
You know?
He's, in a way, kind of acting out on that.
He's like, oh, yeah.
I'm gonna make Carrie Fisher dressed up in a
this little
bikini.
thing. Carrie's all dazed and out of it,
Yeah,
weighing 97 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like those photos, when you see those
Yeah,
set
you
photos,
see those
she
photos,
looks,
she's really skinny.
yeah, like in the movie, I think she looks okay.
Yeah.
Like, but when you see her in those set photos, it's just like, ooh.
Skinny. Yeah.
So, and he puts he's got a Twi'lek dancer, and and Jabba throws the Twi'lek dancer down to get murdered.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're too sexy, you sexy whore.
Yeah,
Throws her down.
it's a weird...
It's a kind of misogynistic little bit of business.
Misogynistic, yes.
Yeah.
I think that's...
It's a bad label to throw on something, because it's very easy to throw around.
Right.
But I think on the scale of the entire world of misogyny, it's pretty low. It's pretty low, but like within the Star Wars, it's the most misogynistic thing of the whole 6 movies.
Sure.
Right.
And I think the repercussions of that, like the fact of the matter is, like, the Slave Leia action figure is like the action figure. The Leia action figure that sells the most, right?
Proud to say I owned her in her white little gown thing.
So I think, like, your reaction to the TWI'LEKS being sexualized initially, like, I think this is something that Star Wars in general, like in Kathleen Kennedy era Star Wars, is trying to overcome, and in some ways, like, overcompensate, like making the TWI'LEKS heroes instead of
it's
just...
so funny because it's just so like because like the best version of it is to see Hera. Hera in Rebels is wearing
overall.
She's wearing a costume that, like,
shows
a regular
no
character
skin.
anyone could wear.
Yeah.
And it's like she doesn't look unsexy in it.
Right.
But she doesn't look like it's a normal outfit.
It's a normal outfit.
And she's also a great character.
Right.
Who has like a lot of range.
That's a good point. Like, it's a character that, like, it's a female hero finally that's not like sexed up.
And that's a 2015 era of things.
Yeah.
Now, like, you go back to Attack of the Clones, and the way George, in his own tone-deaf way, tried to tackle the issue was, well, hey, they weren't all strippers. This was a Jedi. She just dressed like a stripper.
Right.
Right.
That's still Lucas. And again,
it's funny because they all dress like strippers.
Right. I'm not trying to, like, throw Lucas under the bus here. It's just kind of, it's funny that, like, it is like it's almost like a stunted development. Like, we'll just keep making these female characters look sexy and hot, even.
And my thing is, I'm a Star Wars fan. I think it's fine for there to be a race of sexy women.
Right.
Who,
Well, Star Trek did
yeah,
it,
totally. We got those green girls in Star Trek.
Right.
That's totally fine. My thing was the weird self-consciousness of it. And I think you hit on the whole issue is that, like, well, in Star Trek, like, Kirk was a fully grown man who was having sex with these women.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And, like,
yeah.
there was, like, even if it wasn't, like, the most healthy thing, it was like a fully grown adult thing.
Right.
Whereas Star Wars has this weird thing of, like, there not being any sex. It's a sexless universe.
Right.
Right.
It was established as a sexless universe.
Which I think is another element of Hera that's very nice, is that, like, she is the first character who's in a relationship that doesn't define her in any way.
Right.
So.
Right.
That's a weird angle for us to take. I guess it was just, I've never liked the TWI'LEKS because I think that they look kind of gross.
Yeah, you have a problem with the Laku.
Well, I have a problem, yes, the Laku, which is referenced throughout the book.
Yeah, twitching.
I had a hard time getting on board with Ahsoka after I realized that her blue stuff around her head isn't a headdress, it's actually her head.
Yeah. It's weird.
That really weirded me out.
Alien.
It took me a while to get used to that.
Yeah.
But I did.
Yeah.
And I've kind of cycled through my problems with TWI'LEKS also.
Sure.
I've gotten better about it. But for the first half of the book, that's all I was bitching to you about.
Right.
Because it's all Twi'lek action for the first half of the book.
And the thing is, there's kind of a reference to, a Twi'lek that is being kind of held against her will to be. It's alluded to that she's a sex slave for an Imperial, and the female Twi'lek hero of the book is Val. She had a weird name.
Yeah. There's also an Ishtar.
Yeah, there's some weird things. But she
us.
basically like frees this sex slave and beats up the Imperial. So it's almost like a direct correlation to what Kathleen Kennedy is. She's trying to free the sex slaves of the Star Wars universe by how George Lucas portrayed these characters. They're making reference to that almost directly in the book.
Yeah, Isval's her name.
Isval, yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's true. For me, when I was reading it, it was just that this was kind of like, well, this is more stuff that's happening with a character that's totally new, thus will probably die, and
Sure.
is not Vader the Emperor.
All right, I didn't look at that way. Let's move on from the Twi'lek talk.
You're right.
Right,
Let's
because
get
this
back
book
to the
is
plot.
about. There's definitely Imperial presence in this book.
Yes, and that's my favorite things. Actually.
Yeah, the Imperials are. I think they're great fun.
I was shocked how much I ended up
I
liking.
enjoyed the hell out of the Imperials in this.
Yeah.
The two Imperials that we're talking about are basically the Imperials that are in charge of kind of keeping order on Ryloth.
Mm-hmm.
They are. I've lost my links. Belcor, is that his
Yep,
name?
Belcor.
Belcor and Moors.
Yes.
Okay, so Belcor is basically...
Mor's the moth.
Yeah, Moth Moors. Belcor is kind of the inferior or subordinate Imperial on Ryloth, right? Moth Moors is she's kind of the governor of Ryloth.
Yeah, she
right?
kind of like doesn't give a shit about anything anymore. She seems very lackadaisical in her job.
Yeah, she's...
she lets Belcor kind of do everything.
Yeah, and Belcor is kind of being blackmailed by Cham.
Yes.
He's giving Cham some Imperial secrets. Cham has some information on him that he could use against him at any point.
Cham's the leader of the Free Ryloth movement.
Yeah.
Is obviously a conflict of interest.
Yeah, so Belcor is kind of helping the Free Ryloth movement, which is interesting. You see kind of an Imperial that's kind of, shades of gray, kind of, going against the Empire.
Yep.
The big reveal in this is Moth Moors. Moth Moors is the LGBT character that we were told was going to be in this book.
Yeah, that was a weird little promotional bit of business, that there's an LGBT character in this book, so look out.
Yeah.
And I thought that there was actually even a chapter that was a red herring.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Where it's like, the whole thing with Istar is that she won't tell Cham why she has to go on world, and why she has to leave right before they go on this port mission. She just has to work some things out. She can't tell anybody. It's such a deadly secret, and she's it's just described kind of sexual, right? Did you pick up on this?
Yeah.
Where it's she's I just have to unwind. I have to get things done.
Well, she's portrayed as kind of a decadent character.
Yeah.
She's kind of succumbed to the pleasures of the world and doesn't really care about...
Oh, no. I'm talking about Isval.
Oh.
I was saying this is the red herring.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Moth Moors.
No, I was saying, didn't you feel at the ramp up, there was a lot of talk about there's an LGBT character?
Oh, I see.
So as I was reading it, I'm like,
you thought it
which
was
one
going to
is
be Isval.
it? Well, yeah. Well, because there's that chapter where she goes and frees the sex slave.
right.
And it's before she goes, she won't tell him. She's I can't tell him why I'm going down.
That's right.
And she's
yeah.
I just have to release some tension.
Sure.
And all this stuff, and it's oh, she's gonna go down and hook up. Okay.
Right.
And it's weird. And I thought at the time, I was it's weird that she's being so secretive about it. You wouldn't think Star Wars would have that.
Right.
But then it turns out no, she actually she unwinds is goes and kills Imperials.
Yeah, or beats the hell out of them.
Well, she kills them.
Does she kill them?
Yeah.
I thought she just beat the hell out of them.
She kills.
Oh.
She kills.
Okay.
She's a killer.
Killer.
All
right.
Fighter.
Freedom. Yeah.
But but then it turns out it's not her.
No, it's Moth Moors, and it's revealed in a sentence.
Yeah, it's a weird little tacked on thing. It's ever since it's kind of I guess it's the right way to portray it.
Yeah,
it's just
they didn't.
It's ever since her wife died, she's been not into anything.
Yeah.
And just basically eats and hangs out. And doesn't give a shit.
It's respectful, but it's also why is this part of this?
Yeah, it was weird because it was like, why was it part of the promotional
Yeah,
PR?
yeah. I mean, if I didn't remember that it was part of the promotional PR, I may have even glossed over the entire sentence.
Oh, totally.
Paragraph that it was in. Yeah.
Yeah, if I was looking to find out who was the gay character, yeah.
Right. So apparently the gay character is an Imperial.
Yeah, that we've never met before.
Yeah. That we might not meet again. Right.
Good to know.
So getting back to the plot points,
Yes.
the Free Ryloth movement manages to bring down a Star Destroyer. Darth Vader and the Emperor escape it. Darth Vader is portrayed kind of like a badass in this book.
They do a good job of making sure that Anakin's under the helmet.
Yeah, but they also make him like... There's a scene where he's basically in his TIE fighter, and he's kind of playing chicken with Isval in her fighter.
Oh, and he's not in a TIE fighter at this point.
Oh, well, whatever.
He's in a shuttle because the Emperor's with him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And he's kind of playing chicken with Isval.
And this is a move that I thought was so dumb when it went down.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, I was like, classic Anakin.
Well, he like does a force choke on her, like
He goes upside
cockpit
down.
to cockpit. Yeah.
Cockpit to cockpit, upside down, windshields facing windshields so they can see each other.
Yeah.
And he does a force choke on her.
Right.
Now, the problem with playing chicken with somebody...
Someone has to move.
It's... The whole goal is that someone will go off the road because they don't want to die.
Right.
But if you're actually choking the other person and they're going to die anyway, they have no reason to not hit you, which is exactly what she does.
Move. Yeah, it was a dumb move.
And he goes,
right.
and he goes down.
They go down. They crash.
Classic Anakin move,
right.
though. It is a classic Anakin.
And a classic Palpatine move.
Yeah.
Like he kind of jabs Vader a little bit and be like, you could have handled that a little bit better.
You told me that before I read the scene, and then I got to the scene, and he almost says verbatim, like, you could have handled that better.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, duh. But prior to this, there was also a badass scene at the beginning of the book with Vader where basically Vader jumps out of his fighter in zero oxygen space.
Jumps into the vacuum.
It jumps into the vacuum.
NBD, no big deal.
Yeah, absolutely no big deal whatsoever. And jumps onto another ship only to kill the entire crew.
Which I took that as another story group editorial directive.
Yeah.
To go back to the McQuarrie art.
Sure.
The McQuarrie art, the reason the Stormtroopers and Vader had masks
because
so they could go on a zero-G.
Zero-G, sure.
And so far, every bit of new canon we've seen has directly referenced the McQuarrie art.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
And
I mean, yeah. TWI'LEKS.
So.
All right. We're going to find some lost McQuarrie art. That's all going to be TWI'LEKS.
Well, it's just interesting, though, to find out that there is a story group and to now seeing kind of what the shape of that hand is. You know, I think that we can honestly say that the story group has an imperative to push TWI'LEKS.
Yep.
I think it has, which makes sense. I mean, it's a massively popular cosplay thing.
Sure.
And it's, kind of gross. In terms of, if I'm at work looking at Star Wars pictures,
it's sexy gross.
It's weird. It's like someone looks over and I have this, green reptilian with things on our heads, and looking in a bikini.
Yeah.
It's all just ooh, gross. It's I'm into Star Wars. It's nobody wants that.
It's sexy gross.
So yeah. So
that's the name of this episode, by the way. Sexy gross.
Sexy gross. New canon, sexy gross. So it makes sense that they're making a push on that.
Yep.
It makes sense they're making a push on the McQuarrie art.
Yeah.
I guess. It definitely seems like that's a
back
thing
to
for
the
them,
originals,
right?
sure.
TFA is going for it.
Yep.
Rebels is
Rebels
going
definitely
for it
went for
big
it.
time.
Sure. I mean,
just saying, just want to keep tabs on that as we go forward.
Yeah, keep them in line.
Find out what they're doing.
Just checking.
Just
checking. All right, so Vader and the Emperor kind of land on Ryloth, right? Kind of jungle-like planet.
Yeah.
They're talking about how the equator is more jungle-like than the rest of the planet.
Yeah, so
it's a weird okay.
Yeah,
Like,
so,
why?
that
So
was
what?
kind of a throwaway line for all of you who are like, all you guys who bitch about how it's all whole planet can be desert or whole planet can be water.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, that's what that was about.
But they, but it's interesting. So it's a more or less advanced planet, what you call a Class M planet on Star Trek.
Yeah.
But some parts of it are filled with not colonists, what do you call it? Tribes of people who are cut off from everything.
Well, before we get to the tribe that's cut off, there was and again, I did love this book.
Yeah.
I felt like there's a little bit of a stumbling point about 2/3 of the way through, because Vader and the Emperor, along with 2 Imperial or Royal Guards, right? They come across these creatures that are very deadly, right? And Vader destroys them or rips them apart with the Force in there, right? Mm-hmm. And then they come across a nest of creatures that are even more deadly, and I'm like, why are we repeating ourselves?
Well, and the cities are fortified.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. So there's this is a kind of a jungle world. Their cities are fortified from bugs. They have tribes of people who are isolated and don't know about the Empire.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird planet. It's why are they part of the Republic?
Well, okay, so yeah.
How are they part of the Republic and Tatooine is not?
Right. They go through
because the spice, I guess.
The spice, yes. It all revolves around the
spice.
It's
all about governments trying to keep them down so you can exploit them for their spice.
Yes.
I bet that's also why, going back to the Mojo Domo of of Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
I bet he's a big spice user. That's why his eyes are red and he's all pale.
Another podcast has alluded to that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I always thought he looks so different. It's he's the TWI'LEK on meth.
Well, yes. Another podcast has alluded to the fact that everybody in Jabba's palace is high. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, these tribes, these kind of Aboriginal tribes, to me, I thought this was a big callback, or at least a reference to the Ewok village.
Oh, for certain. There's definitely a nearing.
So the Emperor and Vader are kind of, they're being hunted, and they know they're being hunted by the Ryloth movement, by, not hunted, but the Imperials are looking for them to find them. Communication on the planet has been taken out by the Free Ryloth movement. They, kind of destroyed a satellite base. So nobody can find Vader and the Emperor, even though they know they're crash landed.
Well, I think we're really skimming over a lot. I don't think we need to say every plot point.
No, right.
But I think it's important to note that the Free Ryloth movement is going to try and hit the Star Destroyer, and they find out that Darth Vader and the Emperor is on board, and so Isfal convinces Cham that they should double down.
Yes.
And try one Star Destroyer makes a message, but it's not big enough because they'll just send another Star Destroyer and they'll look imperious.
Right.
Killing the head.
Right.
It will make everything.
Right.
And that's the theme that's repeated throughout the whole thing. It's killing the head. If you kill Cham, you'll kill the rebellion. If you kill the Emperor, you might kill the Empire.
Right.
If you kill throughout the whole thing, it keeps. If you kill the head of the monster nest that they come across,
yes,
it might kill the rest of the tribe. But so they keep doubling down. Meanwhile, Belcor has been feeding them information. Has this idea that there's a point where he's supposed to give them the targeting coordinates for the Emperor and Vader. And he gives them targeting coordinates for both them and his superior.
Right, because he's trying to take out his superior and blame her for everything.
If it takes all them down, then no one can blame him, and he suddenly raises up.
Right.
And so it becomes this really cool game of everyone raising up.
Yeah.
But everything keeps getting cocked up.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, when Vader and the Emperor go down, no one knows where they are.
Right. Right.
They kind of have a vague coordinates, and everyone ends up with a vague coordinates. And to me, that's where the book really started.
Yes.
And that's actually about the halfway point.
That is about the halfway point.
Yeah.
And you're right. I was glossing over this because this is a very like Vader throughout the book is not only portrayed as a badass, but he also is. You kind of get some. You get an idea of what's going on in his head.
You get some great dark musings.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of awesome stuff of, like... Because, I mean, we've seen Vader. We've seen Anakin in the movies. And the Clone Wars. And, like... But it's kind of always hard for me to, like, make that bridge of, like... That they're the same guy sometimes.
Right.
And this was kind of... the right off the bat with the introduction, you get him just thinking about his relationship with the armor.
Sure.
And that, to me, was one of the best parts of the book.
Sure.
It's him just thinking and being like... He starts cognitively reframing everything in his head and thinking of things like, I know now that I was always fated to wear this armor.
Right.
Just as the Jedi were always fated to lose their way.
Right.
Like, it's kind of a cool, like... Seeing how he lives with himself day to day, and like throughout the book, they kind of revisit him turning off his emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
I liked is, like, he, going back to like cutting off the head and the rest of it'll fall.
Yeah.
Like Vader, like throughout the book, has that thought. Like, if I kill the Emperor, like, I can rule the galaxy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
that whole like rule of two thing where like. Like the apprentice wants to eventually overthrow the master, right?
Yeah.
And he has these thoughts throughout the book. And what I thought was really great, like about this book, along with all the other action and everything, was like the Emperor, like, can sense his thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, the Emperor is kind of like, this is the buddy portion of the book, is like Vader's having these thoughts about like his past as Anakin, Padme, Snips, Rex.
Literally, this is one of the clumsy parts of the book is when they're going down, like after the chicken fight.
Yeah.
And they're crashing.
Yep.
As they're crashing, and he's thinking about how to like pull up and whatnot. He literally just thinks in a list of name drops.
Yeah.
He thinks Ahsoka, who I used to call Snips, and Mace Windu. And Plo Koon. Yeah. Like, literally, it's in that order. Yeah. And then he starts going to Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Padme. And it ultimately gets to Padme.
Right.
Yeah, it was one of those, like, weird, like...
And immediately after that, the Emperor's like, so what were you thinking about?
Yeah.
And Vader's like, my past. He's like, and the Emperor's like, should do that.
Dumb.
Like, but, like... As much as I was like loving every minute of that, like Vader's still thinking about Snips, right?
Yeah.
Like I love that. Like I was also like, wow, like Vader, Anakin Vader, like he really is like imprisoned by the Emperor. Like not a physical prison, but like the Emperor can sense every time Vader has a stray thought. It's like what a dismal reality.
It is interesting that, like, the one bit of hope he has is that he could someday become the ruler of the galaxy and then actually, quote-unquote, make things right.
Yeah. He still wants to make things right.
It was a little vague on what his vision was. I knew that it made sense that he felt certain things were more messy.
Yeah.
I wasn't exactly... But it was a little vague on what... But that was one of the things, is I myself had to cognitively reframe as I got midway into this book, because I kept being upset because I wanted more depth on, like, rule of two.
Yeah.
Because the rule of two to me has always been a little nonsensical.
Right.
Because it's
right.
It's always...
Yeah, we discussed this a little bit in the Plagueis episode.
Yes,
sure.
Exactly. And it's like, I keep waiting for that book that's going to nail it.
Yeah.
But, like, once you get into it, you realize that's not this book.
No.
This book's an adventure book.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and the rest is fun extras.
Yeah.
He does hit on some good character points. I mean, like that's an interesting idea. That, like, the only thing he has the goal that's waved in front of him is that maybe somebody can rule the universe and make things quote unquote right.
Yeah.
And but everything else is. Meanwhile, he's like cutting off from everything else.
Totally cutting off.
Yeah.
The Emperor really has him just under his control.
That was a funny scene though, where he's like laying in, like they end up camping out.
This is hilarious.
Yes.
This is hilarious. This is
after they crash.
They end up. Well, wait. We may be talking about two different scenes. So you go ahead.
They've already crashed, and they kind of do a little bit of hiking and what have you.
Yeah.
That's one of the best parts for me is like thinking of the Emperor and Darth Vader and his like armor and stuff, like hiking.
Yeah.
With two Imperial guards.
Right. Well, yeah. I think there was like initially four,
Yeah,
and like
they kind of get picked off.
they get picked the Emperor forces one of them to kill the other one because he didn't like survive the crash, right, or something. He's like, yeah, how did like he forces one of them to kill the other one.
Yeah, periodically he's just like, I just have to remind everyone I'm evil.
Yeah,
kill him
right
now.
Right, and he does. Like, and one of them is a clone, and one of them isn't.
That was a funny line there too, where I've always been fascinated by who are the Imperials.
Yeah.
There was a Dark Horse miniseries that dealt with the Imperial
Crimson
Guard. Crimson Guard, yeah.
Yeah.
And it just, I read part of it, and it was like, this isn't my vision of how they would be treated.
Right.
And that's kind of one of the things I've been looking forward to with this new canon, is that we get to see them someday. I didn't expect it so soon, actually.
Sure.
Because to me, that's a bigger deal than an LGBT character. It's like,
yeah, right.
Wow, who are those guys?
Yeah.
Turns out they're just really highly trained members of the Imperials.
Yeah.
And at least one of them was a clone.
One of them was a clone. Right.
And
he gets picked off. Because the other
later.
one lives, yeah.
And, but it's funny so Vader's looking at him and is like, I can't remember what, it's like, he's got like tattoos all over his face and stuff.
The other one's got
one
tattoos.
does,
Not the clone, right?
Okay, because Vader has this weird thought where he's like, I remember the clones. Cody, Rex, Sixes. And then he, like, the whole book keeps doing this.
Yeah,
When everything's
yeah.
back, he just name drops everybody.
Yeah.
And then he's like, the one with the tattoos. I think, he's like, Vader thought to himself, if he'd been a clone, he would have been called Ink. Or Inks.
Inks. Yeah.
And it's like, Anakin, still uncreative.
Yeah. And then immediately...
How poetic, Anakin.
Immediately the Emperor's like, that's a stupid name.
Yeah. That's dumb. Don't name things. Yeah. And I'll be honest, they do a good job of... So I guess the nice part of it being split up with half stories, Vader's point of view, half stories kind of TWI'LEK freedom fighter point of view.
Yeah.
The nice thing about that is that whenever you shift to TWI'LEK view, like Vader is essentially an unstoppable force.
He is. He's very much you can't kill him. You can't.
Yeah.
If you go up against him, you will die.
And it's kind of it is an interesting bridge, because when you think about what Anakin did as a Jedi in the prequels and the Clone Wars, and then you think about Vader, Vader's this menacing figure, right? And because I always think Anakin's not so menacing, so it's hard for me to picture when you know that he's got under the armor. It kind of takes away from the horror of who Vader is. Yeah. But if you don't know that, like the TWI'LEKS don't, and you think about what the things Anakin can do, it's like, well, yeah, he's unbeatable. Right. And the word... They
don't even think that, they're not even sure if, Vader's human.
Yeah, and they're not even sure how he's doing some things.
Yeah.
There's a point where there's a ship coming after them, coming after the Emperor and Vader and the Imperial Guard, and it shoots at them. And the Vader and the Emperor use their lightsabers to deflect the blasts back at the ship and takes down the ship. And so when the raiding party for the Freedom Fighters comes down, they're like, well, how... that they look at all this stuff and they're like, well, that doesn't explain how they took down the ship. Did they have a gun with them? Right. Did they have a blast? They couldn't figure it out. Yeah. And they do that periodically throughout.
They do. Yeah. Vader's really just this unstoppable mystery.
Those monsters that we're talking about, they're kind of like gigantic insects.
Yeah.
That they're being hunted by.
Yeah, I kept thinking that they were one of the creatures in the arena scene in Attack of the Clones.
Oh, see, I thought it was a Zillo creature.
Yeah, but I think they were more bug-like than those creatures in the...
So they end up... And the Emperor and Vader are actually being hunted by this natural apex predator. Yeah. They keep saying that.
Apex
predator. Paul Kemp has a few words he likes a lot. Apex predator is one. Okay. Preternatural was another one.
Okay. Yeah.
Where it's he ran with preternatural speed.
Right.
And
was this the book? This was the book where he liked to use a lot of very
kind of purple prose.
Yeah. Like the wind painted her cloak onto her body.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, the rebels drew laser beams across the sky.
Yeah. Painted. Yeah. There's a lot of that kind of flowery purple prose.
Yeah.
Which I kind of feel is appropriate for a Star Wars novel.
Yeah, I was fine with it. Once I was like, once I noticed it once, though, I kept noticing it again and again.
Yeah, it does get a little distracting. Like we talked about last week, Star Wars pays homage to these old serials.
Yeah,
I kind of like the idea that these books pay homage to the old pulps.
Sure.
So I don't necessarily mind that kind of like he paced around his cell like a jungle in a cave, or like a tiger in a cave.
Yeah, right.
Right. That doesn't super bother me, but it is a little distracting sometimes.
Yeah.
But so they're being hunted by these kind of gigantic insect creatures who are just super tough, and they do a pretty good job of selling how tough they are.
Yeah.
Like I bought in, and of course, not tough enough that the Emperor and
the Emperor and Vader just rip them to shreds, and the TWI'LEKS come after them, and they're like, "Who did this?"
Well, there's a cool scene where they find one, and they're like, "Wow, they took down one." And they find another, and they took down two.
Yeah.
And then they cross the ridge, and there's like 20 something, and they're just like, "Oh my god,
yeah, what could have done this?"
And then there's this cool thing where we keep talking about gambling.
Yeah.
How they keep doubling down on things. This is another point where it's like, there's this great moment where Cham realizes that there's no going back.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what happens today, the Empire is going, like, whether they kill Vader and the Emperor or not, the Empire will send out people. They will scout this world. They will do everything they have to.
Yeah,
but like the Ryloth movement's over.
Yeah, you're done. And they also like the Ryloth movement used all of their resources just to bring down one Star Destroyer.
Yeah,
which I thought was a necessary thing to talk about. Making this Star Destroyers they're not easy to take down.
They Cham's
efforts. All of his resources they built up, it took him years, maybe even over a decade, to build up all these resources. And within one day, they're all wasted just to destroy one Star Destroyer.
Yeah, and I thought that was a cool thing, too. Because that's something that I feel like is getting a little too easy.
Yeah.
In Rebels and stuff.
Sure.
Taking out a Star Destroyer, it's like, you can't just crash ship into that thing.
Yeah.
I would hope not.
Right.
What a waste of money.
They used...
credits.
I did love the beginning of this book when they are taking down the Star Destroyer because it's a callback to Attack of the Clones.
Oh.
One of the weapons that they used was those buzz droids.
Okay.
So in Attack of the Clones, those buzz droids, basically they're little spheres that open up and they look like kind of insects, and they keep cutting apart the ship.
Yeah.
Right? They're cutting apart Obi-Wan's ship, and they
cut
off...
I forgot about those.
Right?
Yes.
That's Cham's secret weapon, is every time they destroy one of these vulture ships, right, they explode into these buzz droids, and the buzz droids just keep coming and swarming. They're almost pregnant with buzz droids. So, you blast open the stomach of the vulture droid, and the buzz droids just come out and just annihilate, swarm and annihilate everything else. I was like, this is
I think you could write a Star Wars novel, Ron.
Well,
the buzz droid was pregnant with buzz droids.
They painted the sky with buzz droids.
But
I think that's how they described it, too.
Yeah.
I think it was the belly of the vulture droids were just filled with
that sounds
buzz
like Paul.
droids.
That sounds like Paul Kemp thing. That's great. Yeah, that was there were a lot of fun little nods to all other parts of the canon throughout, I think.
Yeah.
There's a cool moment too where much in that vein where Vader is in the cockpit with the Emperor, and he's thinking about last time they were flying together like this, and he thinks of flying over Coruscant.
That's right.
And the Emperor goes, yes, he's thinking about over Coruscant after we killed Darth Vader. And it was funny because I had to think, I was like, who's Darth Vader? I'm like, oh yeah,
Count Dooku.
Yeah, Count Dooku.
Yeah.
But he's like, yes, over Coruscant and many others.
Yeah.
This book repeatedly teases out that, like, hey, we're going to get other books that feature these two characters doing things together.
Yeah, right.
Don't worry, we'll get into all those heavy, meaty issues JP wants to get into later. This is like the fun time adventure book.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I would say, honestly, my only criticism with the book is I felt like we could have gotten to the crux of the matter a little faster.
Sure.
I felt like the first half of the book was a little slow because it was a lot of just really the inner workings of the Twi'lek freedom fighter movement.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I was less interested in. I got a lot more interested when we got Belcor, who we kind of underserved in this episode. Belcor is a pretty interesting character.
Yeah, he's one of the main characters of the book. Yeah.
And he's kind of he's the informant who's being blackmailed. And he's the first one to figure out that he's screwed.
Yeah, he's screwed. Like, there's no way out of this situation.
I keep using this poker gambler analogy. Like, as the book goes on, like, more and more people have to fold.
Yeah.
And he's the first one that figures out he's going to have to fold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes for an interesting character, because there's a point where I, like, literally didn't know what he was going to do.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Like, you actually get to a point with, spoilers, where he is sitting there in a cockpit next to a corpse.
Because he blew his brains out.
Yeah, because he killed his second in command.
Yeah.
And he's actually lost his mind.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out what he's going to do next.
Yeah. It's something I feel like is very familiar with the Star Wars universe, and yet something we haven't gotten from the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
A lot of Traitor Imperial.
A lot of mirroring of other things.
Yeah.
A lot of repeating. A lot of repetition. All felt to be done purposefully.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see every Star Wars book done like this, but
No,
I think
right,
that
right.
this was
well
decent new canon.
Sure.
Decent new canon. I would rate it somewhere along the lines of Darth Maul's Shadowhunter or something along those lines. Kind of just a fun, cool adventure.
Sure. Do we want to talk about the end? Because
sure.
This was my favorite callback.
Yeah.
So the Emperor and Vader come across a little Twi'lek girl, and she has, as we alluded to earlier, she's part of a tribe that has no idea what the Empire is at all, and she's like, "Hey, you guys look like you're friends.
Yeah.
You want to come back to my tribe?
Let's hang out.
Yeah, let's just
smoke
hang
some pot."
out. Yeah. And so this little girl is like, Vader's like, okay. Sure.
Let's do it.
And, so this little girl takes the Emperor and Vader back to her tribe, and they don't know who Vader and the Emperor are, and they're, just are kind of hanging out at the tribe. And to me, it's just like, wow, this is the Ewok village all over again,
totally.
Except on its ear, because now it's Vader and the Emperor hanging out with, the natives instead of Han and Luke.
And this is actually my favorite bit of characterization for the Emperor.
Yeah.
Because throughout the whole thing, we get the Emperor in my least favorite Emperor mode.
Yeah.
Where he's like, why don't you try and strike me down?
Yeah.
I dare you.
Yeah.
Always tempting people around him to kill him.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Why don't you mess with him in a different way?
Right.
But what's cool is we go from that to he turns on the Senator Palpatine friendly face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was pretty cool, where it's like, tell me, do you have a comlink? Just being,
right.
Hello, how's it going?
But then he gets, they have, a comlink, and it's broken. And he makes Vader, repair it. Not because he wants it repaired. He just wants Vader's mind on repairing it. He just kind of Vader, go think about this, and don't worry about what Daddy's doing.
Yeah, totally. And I thought that was interesting also because I thought it was almost like a shaming thing too.
It was kind of a shaming thing.
Where it was
there's a lot of psychological things that the Emperor is doing to Vader in this.
Yeah, I thought that was a very interesting scene because I've always been interested by the fact that Anakin was a machine builder. He liked building things. He made C-3PO, and then that was one part of New Canon I wasn't so fond of. It's because they do say in a line here that he hasn't been working on machines and stuff for a long time, and it's what the fuck's he doing then? The guy's got so much time on his hands.
Who, Anakin?
Yeah,
or
Anakin Vader. Anakin / Vader.
I think the point of it was
Because,
like
what's he
the
doing in that
Emperor is,
meditation room?
but the Emperor is trying to like get him to forget about everything
Yes,
as Anakin.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, in my fan fiction novel, like, I imagine he's always building things. Like, I kind of imagine that in that little, that probe droid thing that comes in and when the interrogation room.
Oh yeah, with the
I think he probably
hypodermic
made
needle.
that.
Sure.
Like, I figured, like, that's what he's doing in his downtime is, like,
Just making stuff.
making evil shit for the Empire. Trying to do a good job.
I would love that book.
Yeah. Then that's anyhow.
Just Vader's workshop.
Yeah, but that's Vader's death shop. But that's my own fanfic expectations. We gotta get rid of that.
Sure.
But Judge solely on the novel, like the basis of this novel, I did like the fact that like it was kind of like Vader had been thinking back about like I used to be Anakin, I used to be a good guy. Now things have been so shitty for so long, and what am I doing? And Emperor sensed that, and the Emperor was like, "Oh, you like being a little boy? Here, why don't you play with your toy, little boy? How do you like that? You like being a little boy?"
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, you're gonna be a man. Kill this village."
Well, that's the thing. Like Vader, I think Vader at one point is like, "Oh, what's going to happen to this village?" And the Emperor's like, "You're going to kill them all. They're all going to die."
Well, it's
because of you, because you befriended the little girl.
Well, it's pointed to note that the little girl, when she offers her help and stuff, she's kind of under the thrall of Emperor.
Yeah.
And the Emperor pulls his lightsaber and is going to kill her.
Yeah.
And Darth Vader busts out his lightsaber and stops him.
Yeah.
And like Emperor's like, oof. And they said this cool thing where like Vader was kind of shocked by his response, where it was just like this kind of like resignation of just like, has it come to this? Like where it was just like, it was that thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to have to kill you.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I really thought we had another 30 years. I thought we had till Jedi.
Oh, we had a thing.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing. At the best moments, this characterization between these two, it's kind of like your unhappy aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
Who they probably should have gotten a divorce several years ago.
Yeah.
But like they're still together and still like, it's like, oh, you wanted to fuck her, didn't you? It's like, no, I swear I'm faithful only to you, Emperor.
Yeah.
I bet you are. I bet you are. I bet you still were with her. Like, it was that kind of like bickering,
It was like, kind of bickering.
Yeah.
Like, as much as we were like, we didn't get what the book promised, we kind of did too.
Yeah, we kind of did. Like, I did enjoy those parts, but wasn't it funny though? It was just so much like, just constant, like, it's like, it would get draining, or it's just like, why am I hanging out with this old guy? Who was always just like...
Such a downer, dude.
Don't you just wish you were still with Padme? Well, you can't because she's dead. Doesn't that suck? Don't you feel bad about that?
Yeah, it's just like...
No.
Nag.
No, I don't feel bad about it. I'm glad I'm with you.
Yeah, you're awesome. You're awesome.
That's great.
Thanks.
Now turn the channel on the TV. So yeah. That's the thing. So he saves the little girl's life. But then Vader turns around, or Emperor turns around
like,
on him.
Yeah, you
like,
gotta kill
now
everyone.
you gotta kill the whole village.
Yeah, they've seen too much. Which, that was another interesting thing that this book brought out. Mm-hmm. Is, we now know from this book, and this book is canon, that the Emperor is very secretive about his force-wielding abilities.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Because in the last battle, he's like...
That's why Vader has to kill the village, is because they've all seen the Emperor with a lightsaber, and that can't get out.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, okay, that clears up some things. Now we know that the Emperor... Yeah, this was like, it totally cleared it up for me. It's like, okay, the Emperor is secretive about being... obviously a
Witch
Sith.
King.
Yeah. Obviously a Sith, but like the Emperor is secretive about, knowing anything about the Force.
But why?
Yeah, he's got a thing. He's just
It's weird though. It's like at that level, it's like, well, there's no one to vote against you. You are the Emperor.
Yeah, but
and anyone who meets you knows that you're
they kind of alluded to it with Vader too. It's like, the TWI'LEKS are like, well, all the Jedi are wiped out, so why is Vader using this lightsaber?
I would take more heart in it if he used the Palpatine face at some point in the book. Because, that's a weird thing about... And even in Rebels we don't see this.
Yeah, right.
why is there no more Palpatine face? I know his face is all scarred and fucked up, but like, why doesn't he still at least like do like a radio thing? Like, this is the voice of Emperor Palpatine. Everything's good in the universe.
Yeah, everything's good.
Because like, otherwise, it's like, what's the point of hiding the lightsaber?
Well, again, this book also. No, I may be getting it mixed up with a different book I just read.
Another new canon
novel that I read talks about how the Emperor, and this goes way back to Lucas's original thoughts about the Emperor, is that he did go into seclusion and nobody saw him, and I think that's alluded to in Tarkin, not this book. Maybe because of this book. Maybe because this book, they went on this, jungle adventure. He's like, yeah, no more of this. I need to stay inside.
I did like how at the beginning of the book, when they decided to go off together, he goes, literally the Emperor is like, we haven't taken a trip together like this in a long time. Yeah. Like, it's like literally like the two of us haven't gone and hung out like this in a while, man.
The beach.
Come on, let's get together. Let's do this.
Pack a picnic basket.
Yeah.
We're going out.
Hey, let's pick up a sixer. Let's have a good time, man.
I'm still fun.
Hey. Yeah, I'm still fun. So sad. Yeah, he really is like the old nag wife. Like,
nag.
Yeah,
why are you always in my head?
Yeah, like convinces Vader, who's having a perfectly fine time, to be like, come on, let's go out. Let's have a good time. Let's do some stuff like we used to back in the day. And then the whole time is like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you thinking about? Huh? What's on your mind? Nothing.
Yeah.
No one never thinks nothing.
Yeah.
What are you doing? It's just like, ugh. What a fucking... But yeah, so I don't know. It was a fun book. It pretty much did deliver on what I wanted.
It did, yeah.
I just wish it would have... I think we could have gotten to that point where everyone was doubled down a little quicker.
Sure. I mean, to me, it was still a fast read compared to some of the other books. I give Paul Kemp some credit. I will read another Paul Kemp Star Wars novel.
I would definitely read another Star Wars. Once again, I need to confess, I did not read this. I did the audiobook.
Sure.
I did it through Audible.
Did Vader... did you get to hear Vader in Vader voice say snips?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
We got Vader voice snips. We got Vader voice... Vader voice said a lot of great things, and at first I was like, "Is this James Earl Jones?" But I think it was just the voice through a modulator.
Sure.
Because like one of the alpha male TWI'LEKS had a similar voice.
Oh, okay.
It just didn't have the.
Yeah.
But I do really enjoy those audiobooks. They really sell it because like the ending, like they always put in the music at certain points.
Sure.
So the ending always has that. Wah, 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 wah. So it was like, it kind of like ends nicely for you. It's like, Cham's gonna... Because it ultimately ends with Cham realizing that he needs to spread this movement, not just for Ryloth, but for the galaxy.
Yeah, Isval kind of sacrifices herself so Cham can escape. She goes after Vader, and Vader is the unstoppable force, and,
But she lives for a little while and comes to... Because Vader Force chokes her.
Yeah, this was kind of creepy. Like, she gets captured.
She gets captured, and then she comes to, and the Emperor just kind of talks some smack to her, because, it's never explicitly spelled out, but I feel like he just feeds off fear, anger, hate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he just likes to make that happen. It's like, this one's got a lot invested in this. Let's mess with her a bit before I kill her.
Yeah.
So he messes with her a little bit before he kills her. It's like, your movement's nothing. You're stupid. Blah, 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 and you're ugly, too. And
Vader's like,
Yeah, and then... And she's like, I hate you, and everything sucks. And Vader kills her, and like right before she dies, he's like, I know. Like he says something along the lines of basically just like, yeah, I know this is all shitty.
Yeah.
But I'm still figuring a way out of it.
Yeah.
It'll take me 30 years, and my son will have to convince me because I'm Anakin.
Right.
And while I might be the galaxy's greatest hero of all time, I'm a little dense. Little dense. Give me a break. I didn't have a father. Was raised in a weird culture that had no emotions. Yeah. Molested by a 15-year-old girl when I was 12. So...
See, Lucas had it planned out the whole time.
Yeah, it all seamless. Yeah. It's all seamless.
Yeah. And maybe autobiographical.
Maybe. So Paul S. Kemp, The Lords of the Sith. great book. Don't jump into it expecting,
Yeah, the Defiant Ones, the Vader carrying the Emperor on his, shoulders.
Well, we almost get that. One thing I would say, though, I do feel like this is a book. I wonder how it will age. Like, I wonder in 15 years...
it could be a Shadows of the Empire thing where it's like, well, this isn't as...
Well, even some of, like, the elements of it, like, yeah, I don't know. I wonder.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Here's what I want from these novels.
Yeah.
If they're going to be real canon, make reference to them in the not the Clone Wars, in Rebels. Or, make reference... It doesn't have to be a big reference. It doesn't have to be blatant.
Yeah.
Just be like, have Hera be like, oh yeah, my father Cham brought down a Star Destroyer once. Make it real.
Yeah.
Don't have it just be out on its own in the novel canon verse. Bring it like it's one thing to bring the TV shows into the novels. Or reference something that happened in the movies and the novels. Do it the other way around. Make mention of Hera, of Cham in Rebels.
I guess you bring up a good point. I know we're trying to wrap up the episode, but it's like there's kind of like three ways it could sort of go for me. It's like, of course, what everyone secretly wants in these novels is for something outrageous to happen.
Right.
It's like, well, guess what? In this book, it turned out that Vader was killed and someone else is wearing the armor. And it's like, what? It like changes everything about the movies you watch.
Yeah, right.
That's not really what we want.
No.
But like something of like massive consequence is what you secretly want.
Sure.
Right? Chances of getting that are slim, and you kind of got to know that going into these.
Right.
Second best option, something of minor consequence.
Sure.
That gets referenced, like you just said.
Or part of me was like, blow Ryloth up at the end. Make Ryloth actually mean something for the rebellion to continue on.
You mentioned something to me. For some reason, I got the impression that at the end of this book, they were going to gas the planet.
Yeah, I thought, just annihilate the planet somehow.
Like biotech, yeah.
Right,
like biowarfare. And I was like, that's going to be awesome.
Right.
But at the end, they don't.
They don't, right.
Yeah, and that's the most disappointing aspect of these books is that when they take all the pieces and they only take the pieces off the board that they brought onto it.
Right.
All the ones that were already on the board stay on the board. It's like, oh.
Right. Because
they have plot armor.
I did have this thought in the book.
Like, you can't even sacrifice Cham?
Yeah, right.
Like, really?
I had this thought in the
big
book.
Big plans for Cham?
I had this thought, and maybe this is a reaction to your anti-TWI'LEK, feelings about this book.
Yes.
But it's like, well, all right. Maybe the rebellion works this way, right?
Okay.
Like, at this point, early on in the rebellion, the TWI'LEKS were a big part of it, right? And for some reason, they are exterminated, right? Mm. We know it's not the Death Star because the Death Star blew up Alderaan first, but sure. Some other world-devastating device destroys.
Star Wars Battlefield 2.
Yeah,
we see them get destroyed.
Right.
Yeah.
And my thought was like, okay, so that race failed to take over, to overthrow the Empire, right? Move on, 30 years later, and we have the Mon Cal race.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We now have the Empire is so destructive that it just annihilates race after race after race, right?
Sure.
And that finally the Mon Cals were the strongest race to defeat the Empire.
Sure. So here's my question. I guess what's weird about the retcon of having the TWI'LEKS be like the architects of the rebellion, is that there's nothing Twi'lekian about the rebellion when we get it.
Right.
Like it's
that's the thing.
Why isn't Mon Mothma wearing a sexy bikini? Like, I'm wearing the traditional garb of the Twi'lek. You know, like
Sure. Sure. I mean, maybe, maybe future stories,
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Hey, man, we'll get there.
Plenty of time.
Yeah.
Plenty of stories left.
Well, I feel pretty good about that.
I do too.
I think I'll continue to dive into the new book.
Canon?
I can't want to say new EU.
No,
The new book canon, the prose canon. So far so good. You've already got a couple more under your belt, right?
I do.
So I got to catch up with you, and probably the next couple episodes we'll do
hit
another
those,
book
sure.
review.
Absolutely.
If you guys have out there have read anything, why don't you give us a phone call at the old sexy hotline,
That is
651-337-9364. That number again is 651-33-SW-DOG.
That's right. Or, if you've read this book and, have some thoughts on it, shoot us an email, swdog77@gmail.com.
What do you think of TWI'LEKS? We know we have a few listeners out there who pretty big TWI'LEK fans.
Yeah. Let us
According
know.
to the Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Until next week, stay granular.
I never got there, but the morning brings light, and so I keep on looking